Streaming. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to join us today. This is the last sessions of the SAP Intelligent RPA. This is online track event, the second edition of today. I am Marcel Vilassa. I am part of the organizational team. And then I'm glad to have you here in our fifth session of today and the last session. Hope you enjoy lots of good content here. Then I will request Stacy Fish to have a quick introduction about SAP Community and SAP Community Influencer Programs, just to let you know how to give or how to retrieve very good content.
Thank you, Marcel. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you out there. I'm Stacy Fish. I'm 24 years with SAP. I work out of our Newtown Square office. And Marcel, first and foremost, just want to say thank you. And Rufik, thank you so much for all your support and help in putting together today's sessions on Intelligent RPA. It's just amazing the dedication and passion that both of you have. Amit, it's nice to have you join this particular session as well. In regards to the SAP community, for those that you don't know, we're over 3 million members and users of the community. We have over 300,000 visits a day. Within our community, we have an advocacy program. It's called the Community Influencers, who make up our SAP Champions and Mentors. It's a global program, global programs, and essentially these are distinguished leaders, influencers, and contributors in the community and the ecosystem. They have expertise in specializing in areas of SAP's products and services. They have deep industry specific knowledge on the line of business, technology, and ultimately a passion to share and educate and influence. So individuals like Marcel and Rufik are SAP champions. Thank you so much for all that you do and all that you contribute to the community and to SAP. Online events like this, and I apologize, it's Saturday, my dog and my kids running around in the background. So just a quick overview about the SAP Champions and Mentors, and happy to provide more detail. We have links at the bottom of the YouTube site here, so happy to help and share information moving forward. And apologies for my dog. Have a great session. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, for your quick introduction. And once again, welcome to all the participants and audience from all over the globe. And Amit is going to talk about digital transformation regarding the manufacturing and supply chain, and which is very interesting topic even for me, because I am also from supply chain manufacturing background. And audience, please feel free to ask the questions in the live chat, so that all the questions will be answered in the last Q&A session, and it will be like 15 to 10 seconds delay will be there. So don't worry that your questions are not answered. So everything will be answered. And if you have not followed, or if you have not watched the previous edition or videos from this edition, so the links are in the description. You can watch those videos and put your comments, so the speakers can answer them even later also. So over to you, Amit. So it's yours.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Amit Limaye, based out of Detroit. I represent an organization called Stellium. Brief introduction about Stellium, and then I will get on with the content. So Stellium is in its 10th year, exclusively focused on manufacturing and supply chain as a domain, and SAP as a technology. So we are one of the premium supply chain transformation partners for SAP for last 9 years. And as SAP is expanding its technology stack through acquisitions and development, we have also jumped on the bandwagon of high RPA. We already have a very significant digital services practice, which includes RPA as well as AI services. And it really, it's a great marriage when you consider these technologies that are delivering business value and how manufacturing industry is approaching their business. It is one of the most complex line of business or industry based on my experience. I have been dealing with manufacturing customers and the industry for over 22 years now. And every day I go meet with the customer, there is one or the other unique challenge pertaining to their business or the way they go to market. And it's astonishing to see how technology can really help solve those challenges every day. So having said that, when this opportunity came to my table, it was an interesting opportunity. We have started doing SAP IRPA practice a little over a year ago. And there are significant use cases that we see in manufacturing industry that SAP's IRPA can solve, primarily because I'm sure most of you guys know that SAP is the leading ERP platform for manufacturing industry, whether it's automotive, aerospace, process, or discrete. You would find majority of these companies run SAP as an ERP. Now, people who are associated with SAP would know that it is an extremely compliance-driven transaction system. So if you are running an SAP ERP, you must be aware that a lot of complex business rules around the workflow, whether it's order to cash or procure to pay or customer service or warranty, or take any particular business process vertical, as I call it, within a manufacturing company. You would find that once it is configured and implemented using SAP, you really don't have a lot of leeway. You have to follow the workflow to the T. You have to go through the approval process. You have to make sure each step is executed exactly the way it needs to be executed. There are no shortcuts. There are no workarounds. So naturally, when you're running these processes, often it becomes time-consuming, cumbersome, frustrating to the users, because they want to get things done, and SAP pushes these business rules onto them for obviously right reasons. Because at the end, when it's a time to generate audit reports, compliance, whether it's finance and accounting or governance, is the best system out there to do that. And the reason it is the best system out there is because of how it enforces those configurations. Now, when RPA came into existence with a strong business value push, it becomes apparent to people like us who are consulting to our customers on it will not allow you to circumvent the rules, but you can easily automate these workflows and make sure that you do what needs to be done, but you don't spend a lot of time doing it. So that is the real push for RPA, and the way and the reason IRPA works very well, because it acts as a native technology to SAP. You are not talking about getting another enterprise application system, then make it work with SAP. And obviously there are challenges to do that. Because IRPA is native, you can use all the UI automation, you can use all the API-based automation and make the automation work faster. Now, I'm assuming that there is a lot of sessions before this that talked about different technology capabilities of IRPA. So I decided, when I proposed this topic, I specifically decided to stay at an industry level and talk about if RPA, excuse me, if RPA needs to be seen as an enterprise transformation platform versus as often it's seen as, hey, I have an invoice processing problem, can I use RPA to automate? Or I have a PO creation problem, or I have a certain warranty claim management problem. There is a time now in the industry, especially in manufacturing, where a broad view of where all automation can help and what business value automation and IRPA specifically can drive to an enterprise managed by SAP bring needs to be seen at a strategy level. So whether it's a CIO or a chief digital officer or a head of business, they really need to see the RPA and IRPA technology in that light, instead of talking about a single transaction that they can automate. So today's session, in the next few minutes, I will try to make a point on how this needs to be seen, where are the sweet spots for RPA, and then we have gone ahead and created a couple of demo videos just to show how this looks like, especially taking couple of very key processes, the processes that happen every day in a manufacturing company, and how it looks when you automate them using IR. And then we can take questions. Okay. Now, can you enable the screen sharing, please?
Sure.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, it's good.
Awesome. All right. So as I said, a quick overview of why we can talk authoritatively about IRPAs or RPAs adoption in manufacturing and supply chain is because what we have done in this space. Gold partner for SAP over 9 years. We have been associated with pretty complex supply chain and manufacturing transformation on SAP platform. And hence, it becomes natural for us to take an industry view when we want to go and implement IRPA as well. I'm going to not dwell a lot on Stellium, but you guys are feel free to go check our company out on the website stellium.com. So we already covered the first part of the agenda. I'm going to take you through on what's shaping tomorrow's supply chain, especially after we have gone through a pretty tough pandemic from a supply chain standpoint. We will talk about the high-level manufacturing process map. And then I'm not going to spend a lot of time on 4 because a lot of people who are attending this already know the IRPA stack. And then we give a couple of examples of how we are shaping the transformation using IRPA. Okay. So supply chain, the guys who are not associated with supply chain, there is a lot goes behind the scene, and it is one of the most complex business process in any company. And the word map that we have put will tell you why. On one end of the supply chain, you have customers who increasingly, we call it an Amazon effect, but who increasingly want things cheap, fast. I ordered it today, I need it tomorrow at my doorstep. If I want to return, I should be able to return it really quick. I want my product to be delivered reliably to me. Whatever I want should always be available. If I go on in a store or go online, and if it is not in stock, it frustrates me as a customer. And I need to have a full visibility of where my order is, right from where I place. So a continuous real-time update of where my product is becomes increasingly important. On the other side of a supply chain, we have businesses who are servicing these customers, and their word map looks like that. So they want to run their business obviously profitably. They want their supply chain to be resilient to changes. They want agility and flexibility in the way they operate their supply chain, and they want supply chain to be responsive. Now, these two spectrums are completely opposite when you want to operate. If you want to give products at a cost-effective way to customer, your profitability goes down. And in supply chain and efficiency in supply chain becomes extremely important in balancing these two. And that is where the complexity comes from. Now, if you go to a supply chain executive on a warehouse, on the procurement side or a transportation side, you will hear a lot of jargons which are business related, right? Delivered full on time, returns management, this, that. So these are some of the parameters they track every day. When you talk to the IT guy, he is figuring it out. How can I use all of this to deliver what the customers want and to deliver what the business wants? And when we talk about RPA is not the only silver bullet or a solution out there. There are a lot of other technology things that are being thrown there, and they promise the whole same thing. Then the $1 million question becomes, what is the right transformation strategy given everyone claims to hold the silver bullet to your problems? Now, the reason IRPA, as I said, becomes interesting to manufacturing companies and supply chain companies to do this transformation is A, you already have it in your SAP stack. B, it is native to your SAP. C, you already have SAP as your transaction management system and a system of record. So majority of your processes that you run in your organization are already running on SAP. So it becomes natural for you to think RPA as an extension solution to automate those workflows. So you are looking at a reduced cost of ownership. You are looking at accelerated adoption of automation, and you are looking at a relatively elegant solution, which you will be able to manage better. And that's where we are seeing customers are getting pulled towards IRP. Now, how does this transformation look like? I'm going to take a couple of minutes and put an enterprise spin on it. So you take a look at the traditional supply chain today. And this is a typical B2C customer, right? Where suddenly for some reasons, and we have seen enough examples of that during the pandemic years, suddenly for some items that you typically manufacture and sell, demand spikes. Now, in order for you to fulfill that demand, depending upon where the demand is spiked, it can take anywhere between 10 to 18 days from the date the demand spike is experienced to the day where you restock the shelves. What happens because of this delay is all the critical business parameters that you typically want in green go in red. Your response, if you take 18 days to stock your shelf, means your response time goes for a toss, your cycle time goes for a toss, and you potentially lose the sale to your competition. Now, how does a digital transform supply chain look like? Now, before that, you would understand that the reason you take 10 to 18 days is because for you to get that information of the demand spike, you lose 4 to 8 days in the process because of different stakeholders involved. So it is very apparent to all of us who are working in this industry that before you can move your product to your customer, the information needs to move seamlessly through your system. So if you can transform the way you are moving the critical piece of information through the transaction, you are going to accelerate the actual delivery of your goods to your customer or to your point of sale. So if you take out the information processing and information flow from the critical part, the only critical part then you need to manage is how do you manufacture, stock, and deliver those goods. So how will a digitally transformed supply chain would look like? You will typically have an automated and synchronized information exchange across different stakeholders, department, external partners like suppliers through the system. You will have a real-time AI-driven decision-making on top of it. You will have automated process orchestration and supply chain execution, and then metrics reporting. So if you see the overall impact, the amount of time that you save is significant. So instead of 10 to 18 days of moving your product where your demand is, you are going to be able to move that to 4 to 8 days. And primarily because you cut down the delays of how the information needs to go. You put a lot of AI onto the forecasting, and then you automate the process orchestration, whether you are receiving the order, whether you are processing the order, you are attempting to change and apply delivery blocks and automate them. Every step of the workflow can be automated in this case, and that gives you the significant advantage that you are looking for. So as a result, you are looking at 45% net improvement time in your response time. That will drive 20% improvement in cycle time, and that will drive 15% improvement in lost sales. So automating a single transaction is never a discussion anymore. You talk about how it is going to help me transform the business. Now, if I am excited to look at 45% improvement in my response time, and if that means through the order to cash process, there are 20-25 processes that I can automate and get there, it's a no-brainer. I will go and automate those processes. So that is the conversation that we are driving through the manufacturing community who uses SAP using IRP. So if I want to summarize, a digital futuristic supply chain then should allow the business to access single version truth in real time, decide the next course of action fast because the data that they are looking for to make those decisions are always available to them in real time, and they are not waiting for a weekly report to be churned and then they sit on the data and then analyze. it will naturally then allow them to execute the decisions with speed, which will contribute to the agility of supply chain that we spoke about, and then continuously review and improve how their business processes are functioning and continue to optimize that. So having said that, now this is a premise for an enterprise adoption or considering automation at an enterprise level. Now, any manufacturing company is never a monolith. It is made up of small business units, department who manage a particular process flow, whether it is order to cash, whether it is procure to pay, whether it is manufacturing operations, whether it is planning, whether it is aftermarket and warranty, or whether it's a series of shared services that you have to deploy. So we typically went ahead and created a heat map of, if I were to take IRPA as a technology and use it to automate the business processes, how does it look like from a vertical standpoint within a manufacturing company? So this is the heat map looks like, and you would obviously see there are way more greens than there are reds. And reds also means that it doesn't mean that you can't automate it. It means that the return on automation on those particular processes may be a little lower because there is a lot of subjective decision making that happens. Excuse me. But if you take the whole the planning process, the buying process, the manufacturing process, or moving your process, your product to market, there are a lot of opportunities to use IRPA-based automation. If you look at it from a horizontal finance processes, so finance and accounting also will have different processes based on whether you are talking about order to cash or procure to pay. What are the financial processes? And the majority of IRPA based automation will significantly happen in two buckets, for the finance accounting and the order to cash bucket. And we are going to show you a couple of videos today on some of the processes that we have automated for our customers in both order to cash, sales order creation, as well as the typical delivery block workflow automation. So people who are associated with manufacturing company would know that the moment you create a sales order in your SAP system and to the point where your order is shipped, there are a lot of business rule validations that happen depending upon what your company is doing, what products they are selling, how those products are related to each other, which customer is buying it, which geography you are selling it, what is the product hierarchy look like. Based on all that, there are a lot of rules that you have to apply to the sales order before you clear it for delivery. And this typical process is called delivery blocks workflow. And depending upon all the different parameters, there can be anywhere between 5 to 25 different delivery blocks that you need to clear before the order is ready to be shipped. Now you would imagine that in a shared services team, there will be dedicated set of people only be there to validate the order, create the sales order in your SAP system, route your delivery blocks workflow, and then make the product ready to ship. IRPA-based automation is a classic way to automate all of that and significantly reduce up to 80% improvement on how that workflow works. So I'm going to skip that. This is another details, and we will make this presentation available to you guys if you want, and you can go through it. But this particular slide gives you a vertical view of where the potential is. This slide gives you a horizontal view of where the potential is from an automation standpoint. Okay, now coming back to the order to cash process flow that we talked about in SAP. Now, this is an example of how different SAP modules are involved in executing an order to cash flow for every order that comes in for a customer. Now, depending upon how big your company is, you are talking about processing anywhere between 20,000 to even 40,000 orders a week. And if you are processing those many orders, you would imagine the level of team that you would need to make that set of workflow work. So you'll receive typically the order in the SD module. The inventory module will talk about the inventory availability from a finished goods standpoint. You will run a credit check for that customer if the order is obviously based on credit. You will create a delivery creation. You do a transfer posting in your warehousing and EWM system. You will create a dispatch. The dispatch will be picked by TM. It will be shipped. And after shipping, your finance will generate an invoice. Now, during this whole process, there will be a lot of non-SAP application suites that are being used, whether it's CRM, whether it's manufacturing. If you are make to order, after the order, there is a whole manufacturing piece that comes into picture. But for the sake of simplicity, we have not shown it here. And then there are collaboration portals that you typically have. Once you do that, once you understand this process, imagine this process being manually done and imagine this process now being done with IRP. We have seen there are 75 to 80% improvements in the time required to execute this process for at least 90% of the time. There will always be 10% exceptions where you have to have a manual intervention. But if the business rules are set, you will be able to automate most of these order processing if you have an SAP system and if you use IRP. So I'm going to run these two quick videos, couple of minutes videos. One is sales order creation done using IRP, and the other is delivery block creation that I spoke about. I'll run them one by one, and then we can go to the next discussion.
Amit, the audio is not coming for the video.
I think there are subscripts and captions on the video, so even if that audio is not coming, it should be good. Sometimes, I don't know why Zoom does not transmit the audio. So pretty simple, right? So this is the first step in an order to cash when you talk about the SAP transaction system, where you have to create the sales order based on wherever the information is coming. The order form is coming from a PDF, or somebody is calling you and placing an order, or the order is coming from your CRM system. So once you create the sales order, the next step is, before you prepare that order for shipping out, is creating all those delivery blocks, which are representative of all the business rules that your company or any manufacturing company would have put. And this video is a quick snapshot of how we have been able to automate the delivery blocks workflow using IRPA. So you saw in a matter of seconds, whatever business rules that you may have for delivery block creation are cleared. You don't have to wait anymore, any longer for that order to be prepared for shipment, and we can go on and on. The shipment creation process can also be automated with all its own validation and stuff like that. The order can be pushed to a different transaction system if you are having a different warehousing and transportation system and so on and so forth. Once the shipment is dispatched, the invoice creation can be automated and sent to the customer. And the subsequent follow-up for payments can be also automated. So all in all, by automating these workflows, you are increasing the efficiency of how you run business, and it will have a direct significant impact on your cash flow. So this is how we typically approach, and this is about RPA. But technology notwithstanding, there is a process or a method to the madness on how do you decide which processes to automate. Now, I just gave you an example of why we think order to cash is the best candidate to automate for any manufacturing system, because of its direct impact on cash flow, because of the inherent complexities, and because of the time it takes to automate. But we apply this systematic method to determine which processes can be automated, and then work with our customers to do it based on the process characteristics and based on the technical characteristics or the technology stack of a customer. And then this I'm going to skip, guys, because you probably already know, but one of the reasons why IRPA works best with SAP is this, right? Not only like any other RPA systems, you will have the capability of running attended versus unattended, but you can directly use the BAPI or OData or SOAP API calls, or you can use the UI automation, whether it's Fiori or standard SAP GUI, and it just works seamlessly. At the end, this is a summary slide, but it's all about can I deliver the business value using RPA? And these are some of the specific business values that we have delivered, whether we are automating the finance and accounting or procurement or order management, which I just talked about, or supply chain, or even the front office contact center customer service automation using attended bots. I'm going to stop here and then take any questions. Over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Amit, for the wonderful session. We are having 2 questions as of now. So I'm sharing those questions in the chat of Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming will it work both in the background or foreground is a question not related to attended or unattended, but it is related with whether you will see something happening on the screen, just like you saw on the video, where the bot is moving from screen to screen and doing the transactions as a human would do. So this is a classic and very popular method of automating things, whether you use IRPA or other, where the bot mimics the user actions on the application stack itself and then processes the set of activities. The other way of using the same automation is using the API calls. And I spoke about that briefly, using BAPI and other OData-based API. If you automate using that, it doesn't have to be seen on the screen. You will not see anything on the screen. The workflow will happen in the background. The data transaction processing will happen in the background, and the target tables and systems will be updated with the required data. It can be both. It depends upon the choice, and it depends on case to case.
And there is a question saying that can this delivery block automation also be integrated with IBP?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. So this particular example is related to creating or clearing the delivery blocks once the order is generated. If you have an IBP process flow related to planning, and if it had some validations during that can also be automated.
Yeah, so I see those are all the only questions which has populated.
Okay.
Over to you, Marcel. Any comments?
We are good. I guess all questions was solved. Great presentation. Lots of great content, Amit. Thank you very much. I have to thank you everyone that has joined us today. We have 5 sessions during the event. That was the second edition of Intelligent RPA and then online track. Awesome. And then I have to say thank you very much to all of speakers that presented great content today, Amit, and then the other colleagues. So if you missed some session from earlier morning, then you can jump in the description of this video here in YouTube, and you can find out all the links that refers to the presentations. Don't miss all presentations. I hope you watch it, everyone. And that's all great. Any additional comment, Amit?
No, I'd love to. As I said, you would probably have guessed. Manufacturing is close to my heart, so is SAP, and so is automation. So any chance I get to talk about it, spread the word, I love it. I hope it was helpful for the audience as well.
Absolutely. Rutivik, last words?
Yeah, really, Amit, regarding manufacturing, because from manufacturing perspective, the making of automation is very limited. So after listening to your session, little bit of lights got turned on in the manufacturing sector, because we will be having a lot of limitations in order to do the automation, because each industry has a unique requirements, and SAP can't address them. So as per your verticals and horizontal diagram, it's very pretty clear, like where we can automate from manufacturing perspective and even supply chain, and really that helped a lot of logistics consultants. Really great view.
Sure.
And yeah. And audience, if you having any questions or you want to further connect with Amit regarding this queries and all, his LinkedIn ID and his details are in the description link, so you can contact him for any further questions or anything. And the video will be available in the live in the YouTube channel, so you can watch anytime, and you can get in contact with any of the speakers in the edition. Yeah, that's all from my side. Both.
Awesome. So goodbye everyone. Hope to see you soon in next editions of Intelligent RPA online track. Bye.
Yep. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.